So the day has finally come. Spider-Man has finally released for the PlayStation 4, and this was a game that I really wasn't even considering buying about maybe a month ago, but recently a lot of reviews came out, of course, from people with publications, and of course they got their early copies and things like that, and the game was getting very good reviews, so I just thought, the game's getting really good reviews, people are extremely hyped up for it. So I put out a poll. I asked you guys. I was like, do you guys want to see a Spider-Man review? And an overwhelming majority of you voted yes. So I was like, you know what? They want to see it. I kind of want to play it. Let me get this game. So after, I don't even know actually how long I've put into it. Well, let's see. Checking the time. I've probably put about 7 hours into it so far since it, finished downloading and everything. I am now, I think, 37% finished with the game, which is obviously just a little bit over a third of the way done with the game. I'll probably complete it 100% within the coming days, so I think it's, about time for me to give the first review of the game. Now, my first review is going to be just, the base game. What we have seen so far here on day one, what I think of the product that has launched, things that I enjoy, some things that, I'd like to critique a little bit, and some pointers and stuff about the game. I want to go ahead and let you guys know there will be no real big spoilers in this video, so you guys will be able to play this video, watch it through, and I'm not going to ruin the story for you because, truth be told, I haven't 100% finished the entire story yet, even though I'm getting somewhat close. I will be talking about one mission in particular that I think was pretty ballsy, I'm not going to lie. Anyways, Spider-Man has been a extremely hyped game, an extremely hyped video game coming, for the PlayStation 4 exclusively. Sony has been hyping this up. It is one of their biggest exclusives of the year. Of course, we had God of War early this year, and this is kind of the other real big exclusive that they're going with here, and this game has garnered so much hype in the PlayStation community. There's been a little bit of issues going on around the game. I'll talk about that as well. But, this game is a breath of fresh air to me. I am in no way am I some sort of like a comic book guy, a superhero person. I'm not a huge fan of them. I don't enjoy comic books all that much, and superheroes, they're just kind of there. They exist to me, but I'm not too huge into them. So that was why I was kind of ignoring this game at first and why it wasn't on my radar. But I can't lie. Regardless if it's a superhero game or not, this is a really good game. First, I want to talk about the story. Like I said, I'm not going to go ahead and give, a bunch of spoilers. I'll just do a little bit of an overview of kind of the whole thing. The general summary of it is Peter Parker is, struggling with holding his double life together, obviously working and then trying to hide the fact that he is Spider-Man. The story taking place in New York City as Peter, brawls with a bunch of different villains in the game, has to help the city get through a very violent crime wave of gang warfare, corruption, scandal, and overall issues that have plagued the city. Kind of a general plot. It's something that we'd really expect. I mean, it's a superhero game. He's supposed to be fighting crime, but of course, it gets a little bit deeper than that. There's a lot of different aspects. There's some branches in the storyline and stuff that get explored a little bit, and overall, I gotta say, as someone who doesn't really know that much about the Spider-Man story and the lore and the background, only knowing a few basic details really about the whole story, this game's plot is very easy to follow. It enthralled me pretty well, and I enjoy playing it. The story overall, mixed in with these missions, is, I would say, a very good story. I think it was very well written. It's pretty much the perfect length for me. I mean, it's not some 3-hour cinematic and then, the game is basically worthless, but it's not also some game that's going to take you hundreds of hours to complete and might become boring. With almost 7 hours into the game and just over a third of it completed, I would say that it's probably going to take me about 21 and a half hours total for me to finish everything in the game. I think that's the perfect amount of time, and I'm just really happy with the story so far. It's thrown a few curveballs in there that I wasn't really expecting, and overall I think it was pretty well written. I think that it fits the game very well. It's easy to follow even if you're not a comic book fan, and overall it's a very inviting plot. So I would say the story in this game is a 9 out of 10. I'm really enjoying it, and it's a story that I don't get bored by. I actually want to know what's going on. I sympathize with these characters. I care about what's going on in the story. I want to learn more about Peter Parker's life. The cinematics in this game are good, but I feel like they could be better. I do want to point out that I'm really impressed by the cinematics actually blending very well back into the gameplay. Most of the cinematics in this game will show, of course, an action sequence going on where, let's say, Spider-Man kicks the asses of 3 people, but it blends perfectly back into the gameplay. There's no cuts, no loading screens, anything like that. The camera just goes back to normal. You pick it right back up at the end of that cutscene, or that cinematic, whatever you want to call it, and you don't really notice much of a transition there, so I think that that's very nice. The cinematics look good. They are very visually appealing. They're exciting. They're action-packed. They make you, you know, just a little bit more enthralled with what's going on in the game. Overall, I do think they could be better, though, because I've noticed a few small performance issues with them, and I feel like some of these cinematics, honestly, could be more interactive and could allow the player to actually, you know, involve themselves just a little bit more just by giving input in them. Overall, I would give these an 8 out of 10 because while they're very nice, action-packed, and, you know, they blend very well with the gameplay, they kind of take away from the gameplay at the same time by taking action scenes that, you know, we could be playing out and putting them into cinematics. The missions in this game blend very well with the story. They are not really boring, although I have had a few issues with a couple of them. I'll get a little bit more in depth about that here in a few minutes. It doesn't have anything to do with the actual missions. So far, I have really enjoyed the missions, even though obviously I have not finished the main storyline yet. This is just a first review of pretty much the game itself. The missions are fun. They fit the story well. One thing I do enjoy about them is the fact that it helps unravel the story, which in a lot of games I feel like the story is narrated over top of the gameplay. In this game, I feel like that's not the case. I feel like they're blended very well. When you're playing the game and, you know, you go into different spots of different levels and things, you'll learn new things as you traverse across the map and pick up new missions and things. It helps progress the story in a way that doesn't feel forced. And another good thing about that is because it's an open world game, you're not forced to just go from mission to mission. So, I mean, it's not like a movie. It's not like the game's narrative is being literally directed at you. I mean, you are free to explore. The missions are just overall enjoyable, although I have had some issues with combat that I will talk about here, well, when I talk about combat. There is a mission in the game that I'm actually kind of surprised to see, because I feel like that especially in modern America, post 9/11 America, a lot of people might even get upset over this. I haven't seen anything about it yet, which I'm glad to hear, because honestly, I don't think it's something to raise a big deal out of, but I'm just surprised that they even decided that this was going to be in the game. There is a mission where a police officer who worked with Spider-Man is being presented with an award for his heroic actions by the mayor as part of his kind of campaign for re-election out front of City Hall, when a terrorist attack, to put it very, you know, bluntly, occurs. Suicide bombers start tearing the venue apart with explosions. The police officer, you know, his ceremony is cut short clearly by the explosions. Peter Parker nearly dies. The son of the officer is playable shortly afterwards. Within the scene of you playing as him, the people who committed the attack, the group or the gang, which is intertwined into the story, actually goes through the remnants of the explosions and kills all of the survivors that they can, either with guns or with these like magical swords. To depict a terrorist attack in downtown New York City post 9/11 is, honestly, I didn't see it coming, and I'm surprised that they actually did this, because this just has controversy written all over it. I mean, Americans are extremely sensitive about September the 11th still. Virtually everything violent in video games gets overblown in our society now, and I'm surprised, I wouldn't be surprised, I should say, if in the coming days we start seeing articles about it, and if something else, you know, tragic happens in the real world, if there isn't some sort of ties being made between the two. I wouldn't be surprised, although I obviously hope that doesn't happen. However, The mission is very good. I feel like it really adds to the story, and it throws a twist in there that I didn't see coming personally, and I think that it really benefits the story. Overall, the main missions I would give a 9.5 out of 10 to. I mean, I've had a few issues with the combat and things like that I feel like have made some of the main missions at least a little bit more boring than they should be. However, they're just so well written and intertwined into that main plot that I think that this really makes up for that. Side missions, I do want to touch upon these really quickly. I have played a few of the side missions, and I think that they're super enjoyable. They don't really have anything to do with the main story. They're just kind of Spider-Man being the hero. My favorite one thus far is you meet a woman at a park whose husband is being blackmailed by these people who are planning a heist in, I think it's Atlantic City, at a casino, which he happens to be a security guard at. And you have to pretty much kind of connect the dots behind it, follow the people around and take pictures of them, follow the subway, fight them off as they get in a car and actually go to start planning and everything and actually going towards the heist, and you cut them short. So I enjoyed this mission more than I enjoyed most of the main missions because it just gave something different and it helps you interact with that open world, and it really, kind of brings you in at home in this great New York City map. Something very enjoyable. I've enjoyed most of the side missions that I've played so far. I'm going to go ahead and give them a 10 out of 10. Because they throw a curveball away from that storyline in a way that doesn't take away from the story, while also giving a new perspective and allowing you to really interact with the world in a new way. I want to talk about graphics because this was kind of a controversial issue going into the release of this game, because some images from early reviews and things kind of suggested that the graphics had been downgraded from what they looked like at E3. However, I don't notice a downgrade. I don't think that they really did downgrade it, and if they did, it's hardly noticeable to me. Maybe it's just me who doesn't notice it. Maybe I'm just blind. But even if they did downgrade these graphics, they still look really good. The game is still very visually impressive. Honestly, this is just a beautiful game. I love Spider-Man's suits. I like the cityscape. The vehicles and the trees look great. The people look great. The animations are nice. Overall, it's a good looking game. I will give the graphics a 9 out of 10. They ain't perfect, but they're pretty damn good. Sound design in this game, I would say, is very, very good. The fight sounds are very nice. The punches are very crisp and defined. Even swinging around as Spider-Man through New York, you can hear the webs and stuff, the stretching of the webs that he puts off the buildings. You can hear the cars, the people talking. You can really just hear everything going on at once. The sound is very high quality, and the sound design in this game really impressed me. That's something that helps me become immersed into a game. And I think that I become more immersed into this game because it has a really good sound design to it. So a 10 out of 10 on sound design. I was extremely impressed. The customization / skill trees, whatever you want to call it, the gadgets and everything, I was very impressed by as well. Going into this, I didn't really know much about the game. I didn't really see this being, an option for them to explore. But customizing Spider-Man, building upon his skill trees, giving him different gadgets and stuff, different outfits, and, adding perks to those outfits really affects the gameplay. Spider-Man over time becomes more badass as you unlock new combos and moves for him to use, new gadgets for him to take crime out on a better scale, things like that. It really opens up the gameplay and gives you a choice. It gives you the direction to choose for Spider-Man. Do you want him to be extremely quick and nimble first, being able to basically just go throughout the map as a breeze? Do you want him to be really skilled at defensive maneuvering and fighting? Do you want him to be on the offensive side of things? Do you want to balance his skill tree out? Which is what I'm kind of doing. You can make really nice upgrades to the gadgets that make them last longer, make them stronger, give you more shots out of your webs, things like that. Spider-Man's suits look amazing. The game's customization is just really good. I'm going to give it a 9.5 out of 10 because it just adds to the gameplay so much, gives you that creative freedom to make Spider-Man really your own player, and emphasizes control over the game. The gameplay itself, I just enjoy the game. The game is very fluid, it's smooth, it's fun to play. I don't get bored while playing it. I literally almost got 40% of the entire game finished in one sitting of a game that should take you 20 plus hours to beat. I sat down at 5 a.m., started playing, and it's just about 2 o'clock. I just now got off of it. I filmed all my gameplay and stuff like that. I really explored the game. And I never got bored. The only reason I got off was to make this video, and after I'm done and get everything on this done, I'll probably get back on and keep playing. It's just a very fun game. It doesn't bore me that easily, and I think that a lot of that comes from the fact that the missions aren't all based around the story. The map is so expansive, there's so much to do, there's so many different types of missions. There's just so much to explore. The game really gives you plenty of options to just enjoy it. I'm gonna go ahead and give the gameplay a 9.5 out of 10 because, I mean, it's not the greatest game I've ever played, but damn, this game's fun. Now, movement. This was something that was heavily emphasized going into this game. They said they really needed to go ahead and nail that movement system down because it was going to be a crucial part of the game, and I agree. Movement in this game is so fluid, so fun, and just, it has a little bit of a learning curve at the beginning, but once you get it down, man, this game is so much fun. You can just have so much fun in this game just by running along the buildings, flying through the air, you know, swinging between the buildings, running along them, jumping from rooftop to rooftop. It's so much fun. You'll run into points where you're running and stuff and you're swinging and you'll start combining moves, bouncing from building to building, climbing, running up them and everything. And it feels so good to finally nail, and it just makes the game that much more enjoyable. Plus, I've noticed, well, the farther that you get into the game, movement becomes pretty important in combat too, because, well, you can jump up in the air and you can swing a Spider-Man, kick the enemy up in the air, start doing combos in the air, kicking the shit out of them. It's just so much fun. Chaining all these movement moves together, even in combat, is just, it's fluid, it's fast-paced, it takes a bit to learn, but it's fun. Definitely a 10 out of 10. This just really makes the game for me. Combat in this game, okay, I enjoy it, but it bores me at sometimes, and there's a reason behind it. Combat in this game is great because, I mean, there's combos, right? That just makes it, you know, 10 times more fun. Landing hits, knocking people up in the air, sliding under them, hitting them in the back, using your spider moves and stuff, shooting webs, setting trip wires, all kinds of stuff. Kicking the shit out of people, getting combos, especially when you get them up plus like 25 moves in a row and stuff, picking up barrels and hitting enemies and things. It's fluid, it's fun, the animations aren't choppy, they're very smooth, which is good. However, the problem I have with the combat is that it just gets so repetitive. In every single mission, you got like 11 enemies who just come running out of the woodworks, it seems. One or two of them might be brutes, so they're a little bit harder to fight. You really have to just kind of web them up and then kick the shit out of them so they can't pummel you. But most of the time, you just have unarmed people coming at you, or maybe someone with like a rifle or a pistol. You just punch them a couple times, hold square, knock them up in the air, do an air combo, kicking the shit out of them. I mean, the combat's fun, but it just gets boring after basically every mission does it the same exact way. I'll give it an 8 out of 10 because it's fun. I like the fact that the skill tree and all of the gadgets and stuff matter to the combat, and these kind of diversify what you can do with the combat. However, I do have a problem when it just gets so repetitive. But come on, can we have a little bit of variety with it? The atmosphere of this game is beautiful, okay? I mean, I really feel like this is a great game because of the atmosphere. New York is really coming to life at pretty much any time of the day. I mean, you're swinging through, going from building to building, there's people all over the sidewalks, there's cars going all over the place, random little crimes and stuff will pop up here and there that you can jump in and try and stop. You might be just swinging through Chinatown or something, and then all of a sudden a burglary is happening in an alleyway like 3 blocks away from you. You can go stop it, and the world feels more alive because, you know, the farther you go through it and the more you just explore it, the city is pretty much always alive. There's always just so much to do. Random events happen for you to just kind of go and play around with, and it's beautiful. A 10 out of 10 atmosphere. I mean, at sometimes, obviously, you can kind of look around and tell that there are some issues with the immersion, I guess, but, I mean, they're just not really that noticeable if you're just playing the game having fun, which, most of the time, you're going to be doing. The map design is great. I really do feel like they did a great job at replicating New York City. The buildings are beautiful. They're iconic. The landmarks and everything all around the map. The missions and everything are very well placed and spread out. The map is easy to get through. The movement's fluid because of this map design. The map is a decent size too. I actually kind of figured it was going to be smaller, but no, you literally get the whole island. And I enjoy that because, you know, there's a bunch of different areas to explore. They're all kind of unique in their own ways. The map is just very well designed after an iconic city. 9 out of 10 map design. I really enjoy it. It really benefits the gameplay, and it really makes me feel like it's a great replica of New York City. The photo mode is something that has been talked about a lot too coming into this, because the game gives you an opportunity to take in-game screenshots, edit them, do a lot of cool stuff with them, add comic book text to them, make your own cover of the Spider-Man comics, all kinds of stuff. As a matter of fact, I used photo mode to make the thumbnail of this video. I mean, it's just a fun little tool to use. It's not going to be something that makes or breaks the game. I mean, it's just enjoyable to jump into every once in a while, take some kick-ass pics, save them on your PS4, you know, keep playing. 10 out of 10, it does the job, it adds something cool to it. Maybe you'll get a kick-ass screenshot to make your background or something. There are puzzles throughout the game that I really do enjoy too. I think that these were pretty well designed, and they're challenging enough that they don't bore the shit out of you, but, you know, they're also not so hard that you're sitting there doing them for hours. The most prominent ones that I've noticed are the ones at your old tech job in the lab where, you know, you're trying to help work on things and stuff, and you're trying to fix the currents and stuff like that in the electronics. Pretty enjoyable little puzzles, 9.5 out of 10. They were fun to do, I just kind of knocked them all out at once. Not too challenging, but not too easy. The last thing I really want to touch upon is the dialogue, because I think that this game is very well written. However, they got a little bit lazy and cheesy in certain areas. Spider-Man will occasionally say some really cheesy shit after he gets out of a mission or something, and it's a bit cringy to watch and listen to, but that's just kind of his personality. Peter is a very awkward person, and even as Spider-Man, he's kind of socially awkward. He has a lot of girl problems going on. He's afraid to ask for help. You know, it's just kind of built into his character. These kinds of things have been touched upon in the movies before, I think, at least from what I can remember. You know, it's just part of his personality, but even then, there is some great dialogue in this game. It's pretty well written. I think that sometimes, like I said, the dialogue gets a little cheesy and cringy, but overall the dialogue, especially when it pertains to the story, is very well written, helps develop the plot a little bit more, and helps you, especially in certain situations, sympathize with some of the characters. Overall, like I said, Spider-Man was a game that wasn't even really on my radar until recently. I just, you know, kind of impulse bought it this morning, hoping that it was going to be good. I even bought the digital deluxe, man. I mean, these reviews were really good. I was hoping for a really solid game, and I think I got more out of it than what I expected. The game has done a very good job at, you know, making somebody who isn't a comic book fan actually immersed into the game and able to enjoy it at a, you know, a pretty good rate. The game has, you know, kind of taken over my day. I'm really enjoying it, obviously. Almost 40% of it done within the first sitting of me playing it. I think that when it comes down to exclusives for this year, this game is, you know, I mean, it's competing with God of War. I've played both. I have to give the upper edge to Spider-Man. I just enjoyed this game more than I enjoyed God of War, to be honest with you. Unfortunately, yes, this game is an exclusive, and, you know, I feel kind of bad about that, because this is an extremely good game, and I wish people all the way across the board could really experience it. It's fast-paced, it's fun, you can go at your own pace, the story's good. It overall just is a great game. I think that this is definitely going to be a staple of the PlayStation 4 when we look back at it. A lot like the PlayStation 2 Spider-Man game, I think we're going to really look back on this game and just kind of think of it as one of those games, you know. In 10 years, we'll be making memes about, you know, if you played Spider-Man on the PS4, you qualify for a veteran's discount. This game is going to be iconic for the PlayStation 4, especially since it's an exclusive. I think that's really going to help bolster its image as a PlayStation 4 staple, but this game is just, you know, it's great. It really is. As someone who doesn't really enjoy comic books, I can't stress how much I actually do enjoy this game. I am definitely going to finish it. I'm excited for the expansions that will be coming, and then of course I will do another follow-up review after those come out and I finish those, called the final review for this game. This is my first review of the game, and I'm going to give this game a 9 out of 10 total. I think that's the highest I've ranked the game so far in my reviews. This game definitely has potential to even increase this overall. If these DLCs come in and they help, you know, make the game better, I'm definitely going to rate the game better in different aspects and re-rate it again during the final review. One huge negative that I did not touch upon at all was the bugs. This game is very buggy so far. I've had a lot of issues with the AI's logic. They don't act right in a lot of certain situations, and it kind of makes the combat a little bit easier. On top of that, I have some issues where enemies will actually glitch into vehicles, or they will glitch into walls and basically just become invincible, and you have to fail the mission or something to kind of reset it. But I mean, I feel like that won't be a big deal, especially if they come out with a patch for it and they fix these issues, but that's something that I have noticed. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you did enjoy, make sure to leave a like on it and subscribe if you're brand new around here. I'm going to be doing a lot of reviews here in the next couple months. I'll have even more reviews coming out here very soon regarding the Battlefield 5 and Black Ops 4 betas respectively, so I would stay subscribed for those contents, those videos. Follow me on Twitter at @SubToOptimus for memes, thoughts, and updates. Join the Discord down below. Also make sure to pick up some Optimus merch down there as well, and until my next video, guys, this is Optimus swinging through New York by a string and signing out.